Hey guys, I tried to upload this video in 4K like I do like most of my videos, but I don't have enough space on my phone. If y'all don't know, I film some of my videos on my phone unless I'm doing like a reaction video. I do it off of my laptop sometimes. Uh, but I edit all my videos. I edit videos on my phone. And so for some reason I don't have enough space on my phone to export this video in 4K. I only have enough space to do it 1080p, so I want to let you all know that this video quality might look a little different than my videos normally do. It's because I don't have enough space to export it in 4K. I'm very sorry about that if y'all love watching my videos in 4K, but this is the one time where I cannot do it. But just wanted to let you all know why this wasn't uploaded in 4K. It's like forever, guys. I got this set up. But hey, guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to it. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be doing a reaction video. And the video I'm going to be reacting to is titled The Best Documented UFO Case, Lonnie Zamora. It's on the Blame It on Jorge YouTube channel. I hope that's how you say his name. I hope it's not George. That's how you say his name because that's what it looks like how you say it. But I'm hoping I'm saying that YouTube channel right. So I filmed like this entire one it took me like 2 different tries to film this intro because I can't hear the video in my earbuds. Y'all could hear it, but for some reason the sound wasn't coming in my earbuds. And then my microphone wasn't here, so y'all couldn't hear what I was saying. So it was a whole ordeal to get this set up, and it never ever is when I do reaction videos on my laptop. But for some reason today, it just had to be a big ordeal. But before I start screen recording, let me see what I'm on 79% on battery on my laptop. Just had to make sure I'm good on battery so this doesn't die and my laptop dies and for some reason I can't recover the footage because sometimes my laptop, when it dies when I'm recording, it doesn't save the recording. But let's start reacting to this video. It looks like the first thing is going to pop up as an ad, but we'll listen to the ad. And yes, I know this video is almost an hour long, and I hope y'all like this hour-long video. This is probably the only time you'll get an hour-long video from me this year, but who knows, I might do more of these hour-long videos. But I wanted to film an hour-long video because it's going to probably be a month before I post another video. But here goes nothing.
Brought to you by NordVPN. Researching mysteries online can sometimes require a little bit more security. That's where NordVPN comes in. With NordVPN, all your data is kept protected behind a wall of encryption. All it takes is one simple click, and my personal information and IP address is safe from online trackers. In fact, NordVPN comes with a tool called CyberSec, which blocks all malware hosting websites, annoying ads, and botnet control.
Okay guys, hang on. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna pause and now, I don't know. Will I be back? Who knows? I'm gonna pause, guys, this video, and I'll be right back. I have to just react to this video on YouTube because the quality was horrible. I guess when I downloaded the video from YouTube, it downloaded in a horrible quality. So hopefully he's not as blurry as it was. But let's start reacting to this video for what was like the 1000th time for me because I filmed an intro twice for this video. So this is my 3rd time. Oh well.
This video is brought to you by NordVPN. Researching mysteries online can sometimes require a little bit more security. That's where NordVPN comes in. With NordVPN, all your data is kept protected behind a wall of encryption. All it takes is one simple click, and my personal information and IP address is safe from online trackers. In fact, NordVPN comes with a tool called CyberSec, which blocks all malware hosting websites, annoying ads, and botnet control. But what's probably Nord's coolest feature is its ability to give you region-locked content on Netflix, for example, such as the Studio Ghibli films. By going to nordvpn.com/blameItonGeorge and using my promo code BlameItOnGeorge, you can get a 2-year plan and 1 additional month with a huge discount. And if you're unsure, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's really nothing to lose. That's nordvpn.com/BlameItOnGeorge. Take control of your internet experience today. According to many UFO experts, the Lonnie Zamora case is the most convincing and significant UFO sighting of all time. It's also one of the most credible, and it comes from a very trusted source. While many alleged UFO sightings have been debunked and laughed off, this one hasn't. No one has managed to come up with a satisfying explanation for the bizarre scene which Lonnie Zamora saw back in 1964. In this video, we bring you the Lonnie Zamora case, along with all the details which make it so scary, mysterious, and inexplicable.
Wondering what I was just doing when I was filming a YouTube short for y'all, letting y'all know that video is coming. All I have to do is put text on it and upload it to YouTube as a YouTube short.
On April 24th, 1964, Police Sergeant Lonnie Zamora was going about his usual business. He called radio dispatch at 5:45 p.m. to report that he was pursuing a speeding vehicle through the deserts near Socorro, New Mexico. But that wasn't the last call he made that day. Minutes later, Zamora made another call. But this time, he was reporting something much more unusual than a speeding vehicle. According to Zamora's testimony, his pursuit had been interrupted by a huge bang. Alarmed, he stopped his car, stepped out, and spotted a very bright light in the distance, between a mile and half a mile away. At first, Zamora thought the bright light was likely a flame, and decided to investigate. It seemed that the flame was descending calmly towards the ground. Zamora was expecting a fire or an aircraft, a dynamite explosion, or maybe an arson attack. What he found instead was much more bizarre. Upon getting closer, Zamora noticed a large object, which he at first thought was an upturned car, but he quickly realized that the object was some sort of aircraft, and that it had 4 legs. He described it as an egg-shaped metallic object, off-white in color, and seemingly made of aluminum. But that's not the strangest part. Beside the object, Zamora saw 2 beings. He claimed that these people were either small adults or large kids. They were both wearing white coveralls, and according to his testimony, one looked at him and paused, seemingly startled by his presence. Zamora decided to investigate further, but as he turned away from the scene and back again, he heard 2 or 3 loud thumping sounds, similar to the sound made by the closing of a car door, and turned around to find that the 2 beings had disappeared. Zamora decided to move toward the object, and at around 20 meters from the site, he noticed a symbol on the craft, which resembled a red arc with an arrow inside. He described the symbol as something he'd never seen before. There were no words alongside it, nothing to imply that the craft was associated with NASA, the US Army, or the Air Force. It didn't match any known alphabets, either current or extinct. Nothing recognizable at all. According to Zamora's claims, the craft then started moving upwards into the air, and a huge blue and orange flame started emitting from the bottom of the craft. Terrified and confused, Zamora ran, dropping his glasses in the process. The craft continued rising into the air, accompanied by a roaring sound. This roaring sound then abruptly stopped. The craft then stopped moving upwards, hovering for a few seconds before zipping rapidly across the sky. Zamora later insisted that this roaring sound was absolutely not a bang or blast. It was not like the sound of a jet or a normal aircraft. Instead, he claimed that it can only be described as a roar, and that it changed from a high frequency to a low frequency before suddenly stopping. Soon after,
I'm gonna stop the video and go watch the YouTube short that I just posted for y'all. So give me a second. What? What? Okay, so YouTube short is blurry, but it's gonna take a couple of minutes. It's only 7 seconds long, but it's gonna take a minute or two for it to upload in full quality. But if y'all want to know what YouTube short I'm talking about that I posted for y'all when I am filming this video, I'm posting this Sunday. I am filming this Friday. So I posted a YouTube short Friday titled "Posting the video Sunday!" Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! So if you want to go watch that YouTube short, you can. But let's continue watching this.
Zamora's colleague, Sergeant Sam Chavez, arrived at the location. He'd heard Zamora's second radio dispatch call and was curious to investigate. Upon arriving, Chavez noted that Zamora was distressed and quite clearly in a state of profound shock. But what Chavez and Zamora were still to see would only make the mystery even more alarming.
I was chasing a reckless driver going up south on Park Street. Up to the time I came to this little road, I heard this big roar blast. We got a dynamite check to the west there. I thought I'd investigate maybe. I thought maybe blow it up. So I started up there real fast. Halfway through it, I stuck my head out the window, out of the car, and I seen this white object. I didn't know what it was at that time. I thought it was a car that had turned over, vehicle that turned over. I started out real fast so I could maybe help the people in the car. I went up to it close, about 200 feet. I was 200 feet from it. I got off the car and started toward it when I heard this big noise again, same noise, and the flame coming from under it. I got scared and started running back. I ran about 50 feet from it. Afterwards, I didn't hear the noise no more. I just lifted up my head to see what was happening. It was real quiet then, and I saw this white object just take off towards the west there, smooth out.
Did it leave any kind of a vapor trail when it took off?
No, sir, it didn't. Just quiet, no trail, no nothing.
But it did make a roar at the time you approached it.
A big roar, yes, sir, it did.
And you could actually see the flame in under it.
Yes, sir, I did.
Was it standing on legs?
Yes, sir, it's legs. I call it legs, yes.
And you thought there were 4 of these?
Apparently there was on the markings on the ground. It was 4 legs, yes.
In other words, you examined it later on.
Yes, we did. Me and state police, New Mexico State Police.
After it took off, did you go back to get help?
No, I radioed help from the car, and he came on out, yes.
I see. And when you went back to examine it, what did you find near where it had been parked?
Well, the bush was there around there, greasewood and grass was still burning. And also there's markings on the ground, prints and everything
Prints.
else.
That's weird.
There were prints as if it had been standing on these legs.
Right.
Did the legs go up into the object when it took off? Did you notice that?
No, sir, I didn't notice it was fast.
And after it got into the air, did the roar stop?
Yes, sir, when it came straight up.
That's weird. That's very weird.
Zamora and Chavez began their investigations by moving closer to the scene, and what they found corroborated Zamora's initial claims. The site had 4 smoldering holes in the sand, seemingly made by the 4 legs of the craft. But more crucially, some of the sand had been compacted so densely that it had turned glass-like in texture. And how is glass made from sand? By being exposed to super high temperatures. Smoke was rising from the area, and a burned branch was found, but there were no flames, and there was nothing on fire.
That's weird.
According to another officer, James Lucky, who arrived later on the scene, he said, "The bushes were smoldering, like somebody cut them from the top with some big flamethrower. Lonnie was white as a corpse, and he ain't exactly no pale face normally. He was sweating like a spent horse, but it was cold sweat." Journalists, state police, and the US Air Force were all quick to join the investigations. After an assessment, the Air Force claimed that none of their craft were involved, and that they had no explanation for the incidents. All witnesses at the site agreed that these marks were fresh, and that they had been made by something of impressive size and weight. But most importantly, all comers noted that Zamora looked sad, shaken, and disturbed. Whatever he had seen, it clearly had a profoundly troubling effect on him. Many newspaper readers were quick to claim that Zamora might simply have been making the whole thing up. But in official FBI reports, Zamora was described as sober, dependable, mature, and not known to engage in flights of fantasy. And these claims were quickly dampened by some of the corroborating comments made by many other witnesses. Zamora wasn't the only person who'd been affected by what happened that day, and in the days to come.
I was about to say days to come, more people are, I bet. Chapter 3. Zamora's sightings aren't alone.
Many witnesses came forward to back up Zamora's claims. Some had reported hearing the same sound as Zamora, many of them describing a loud roar, while 3 separate members of the public had called the police to describe a glowing bright object in the sky. Another witness had called the Albuquerque TV station at 5:30 p.m. on the same day, 15 minutes before the beginning of Zamora's experience. This caller claimed that they seen a UFO heading south towards the town of Socorro. Many other related incidents were reported throughout the USA in the weeks around the same time. Perhaps the period marked a flurry of alien activity. Oddly named Opel Grinder, who ran a service station in the area, offered some of the most compelling corroborating evidence in relation to the case. He reported that 2 men had entered his station just after the loud boom which Zamora had heard. They chatted with Grinder, observing that the aircraft in the area seemed to fly low. When the initially uninterested Grinder said that the men had probably just spotted a helicopter, one of the men replied, "It was a funny looking helicopter, if that's what it was."
Well, that tourist came up here and wanted gasoline. He come from the south. And he said, "Your aircraft around here flies awfully low." I said, "Well, how was that, sir?" He said, "Well, it like knocked me off the road out there." He said, "It must have been in trouble." So the policeman was going to it. So I asked him, "Was it the helicopter?" He said, "No." He says, "It was, it's a funny looking one." So he went on about his affairs, and I was making up the bank deposits for the bank at 15 to 6, and that was the same time he was here. And the next morning, well, it dawned on me that the time element was the same time that the tourist was in here, that Zamora went to that object that was on the ground there.
This is very,
I
very,
called the radio station, told them
like, it
Zamora
has
was not
to be
there
like
alive
a
because
UFO.
The tourist seen something and didn't think much of it.
I'm a skeptic on aliens and UFOs. Like, it's 50-50 to me whether they exist or whether
These
they
two
don't.
Iowa residents who'd been passing through Zamora State at the time were identified as Larry Kratzner and Paul Keyes. In 1978, the two men were interviewed by UFO researcher Ralph DeGraw. In these interviews, Kratzner claimed that what they'd seen had been an egg-shaped object. But the most interesting supporting evidence came in the days after the incident, when an eerily similar sighting was reported.
Okay, I know I keep on pausing, but like... Anyways. What I am gonna do... I'm gonna make this bigger. I forget what. I'm not gonna make that bigger. Yeah, I'll fix it. I'm not gonna see anything. You know. Yeah, zoom it out. So guys, I just wanna be comfortable when I'm watching this. Okay.
Same time as the tourist was in here, that Zamora went to that object that was on the ground there. And I called the radio station, told him Zamora was not telling a lie because the tourist seen something and didn't think much of it. And he saw the policeman also going to the object that was on the ground, which was a UFO.
These two Iowa residents, who'd been passing through Zamora State at the time, were identified as Larry Kratzner and Paul Keyes. In 1978, the two men were interviewed by UFO researcher Ralph DeGraw. In these interviews, Kratzner claimed that what they'd seen had been an egg-shaped object. But the most interesting supporting evidence came in the days after the incident, when an eerily similar sighting was reported. This time, it was a man who'd reported seeing a craft in the shape of a butane tank. The man, who was visiting his father, claimed that the craft was disturbing his father's horses in the middle of the night. He described seeing the same flame as Zamora, and also reported indentations on the ground along with a patch of smoldering earth. An investigating officer attended the scene and reported that this smoldering patch measured in at around 30 to 40 feet in diameter. In short, these testimonies were very similar to Zamora's testimony. But why would a UFO be around the local area for 2 days?
Chapter 4. The military began to interfere.
The military became heavily involved in the case on April 25th, the day after Zamora had seen the UFO, and they began what seemed suspiciously like a large cover-up. On April 25th, Army Captain Richard T. Holder, along with FBI agent Arthur Barnes, interviewed Zamora. During the interview, Zamora claimed that he believed he'd perhaps seen some type of secret experiment, but Holder was very eager to dismiss these claims. Immediately after the interview, Holder and Barnes took flashlights to the site to investigate. They performed these investigations in the dark. Was there something that couldn't wait until the morning? I say this because the next day, the compacted glass was apparently removed from the site. No explanation has ever been given for this removal. But the strangest thing of all is this. The Air Force made 2 reports about the incident. The report, which was released to the public, shrugged off the whole thing, claiming that Zamora's experience was nothing major and nothing of concern. But the second report, which was written by Hector Quintanilla Jr., the former head of Project Blue Book, stated that the Air Force were puzzled by the case. In this second report, the tone was much more panicked and much more urgent. Lonnie Zamora experienced an event which left quite an impression on him. He was a serious officer, a pillar of his church, and a man well versed in recognizing airborne vehicles in his area. He was puzzled by what he saw, and frankly, so am I. And yet,
Sorry to keep on pausing, but I'm gonna play a game on my phone, so if you see me do some, I swear to God, I am listening and I am watching. I'm just playing a game on my phone because I have really bad ADHD, so I need to control that.
I've always had some doubt about this case, even though it is the best documented case on record. In spite of the fact that I conducted the most thorough investigation that was humanly possible, the vehicle or stimulus that scared Zamora to the point of panic has never been found. The Blue Book is a top secret series of UFO case studies performed by the United States Air Force. Of the 12,618 UFO sightings investigated by the Air Force, only 701 of them are deemed unexplainable, including, of course, the Lonnie Zamora case. Despite their private fears, these investigators maintained a calm public front, repeatedly dismissing any need for panic in all public reports. And it seems that they even manipulated Zamora's recollection of the events. In one interview, when Zamora was asked about the red markings he spotted on the side of the craft, he said, "They don't want me to say anything about the markings."
And did it have any kind of markings on it of any kind that you noticed? Yes, it did. Not from that far, I didn't see the markings. When I went up closer to it, I did see the markings.
And someone said that the markings that you saw was an upside-down V with 3 lines running through it.
No, sir, I couldn't tell you that because they still don't want me to say nothing about the markings.
No, they don't want you to say anything about the markings. All right, we won't question you on that. And if we run into an area that they don't want you to talk about, will you just say so? And this happened about 5:30 Friday afternoon.
It's
That's
alleged that
weird.
Army Captain Holder told Zamora to give reporters a fake account of the insignia he'd seen. In initial descriptions of the insignia, Zamora claimed that it was a triangle with 3 lines cutting through it, not the arrow-shaped one which it's now commonly thought to be. According to one source, Zamora was swiftly subjected to prolonged grilling after the event, which may have made him reluctant to share all the genuine details around the case. Then there's the footprints. As previously stated, 2 beings were allegedly seen by the aircraft. It's reasonable to assume that they would have left behind some kind of footprints, which would have been really valuable for investigators. However, any mention of footprints are nowhere to be found in the FBI files. And most newspapers from the time
were there
period claim that no
footprints?
footprints were found by police officers.
Okay, so don't.
Now retired police
confused.
officer Ted Jordan gave some very significant details of an alleged cover-up. He told journalists that Air Force investigators on the scene asked Jordan for a reel of film, which Jordan had been using to take photographs of the site. This reel allegedly included photographs of the indentations, the scorched bushes, and, most notably, shapes resembling footprints. But when Jordan asked for his reel back, the Air Force claimed that the photographs had been ruined by radiation, and therefore had failed to come out. Jordan never saw these photographs again, and only vague rumors of any alleged footprints now exist. The military clearly put a lot of effort into covering up the case and obfuscating large parts of Zamora's story. But no one knows quite why the military were so cagey about the incident, and why they seemed so eager to completely dismiss what Zamora and others had seen. No one has managed to come up with a reasonable and acceptable explanation for what Zamora saw that day, though many have tried.
Chapter 5: Several unlikely explanations.
Some of the potential explanations for the Lonnie Zamora case are pretty compelling and convincing, though others are flimsy and unlikely. Famous UFO skeptic Philip Klass claimed that Zamora had merely seen an intense case of ball lightning.
Well, we've seen a lot of wild weather this weekend, but take a look at this video shared with us on Twitter. There's a phenomenon ultra rare known as ball lightning.
He also claimed that Zamora had invented the whole thing up in a strange attempt to increase tourism in the area. Fellow UFO skeptic Stuart Campbell said that Zamora had simply seen a mirage created by the star Canopus. Others claimed that the craft could have been a hot air balloon, and though that's an explanation which accounts for the shape of the vessel, it doesn't account for the intense roaring sounds reported by Zamora and other witnesses. But there are some explanations that are a little better. The first of these hypothesizes that Zamora saw an experimental NASA vessel. In 1964, NASA were experimenting with an early version of their Surveyor lunar probe, which actually traveled to the moon in 1966. Tests of this probe were taking place at the nearby White Sands Missile Range, and it was being carried by a helicopter on the same day in which Zamora saw the alleged UFO. The Surveyor probe used rockets, which could explain the flames which Zamora had seen. And scientists involved in these experiments would have likely worn white coveralls. But Socorro is almost 100 miles away from the White Sands Missile Range, making this explanation very unlikely. And NASA literally never takes their test vehicles into nearby towns or cities. Why would they have done so with their experimental Surveyor craft? Surveyor also didn't match up with Zamora's descriptions. It had 3 legs, it would have had a NASA logo, and it was being transported by a helicopter, which Zamora never saw. And Surveyor was a set of 3 aluminum trusses. It certainly wasn't egg-shaped or even solid. The best explanation ever proposed relates to a nearby New Mexico Tech University. Is it possible that the entire event could have been orchestrated by some university students? According to Harvard astronomer Donald Menzel, that's exactly what happened. And Sterling Colgate, president of New Mexico Tech, also believes the same thing. UFO researcher Anthony Bragalia communicated with Sterling Colgate by email, who vehemently claimed that Zamora had simply been tricked by a hoax. And of all possible explanations, this does seem the most likely. The energetics lab on campus had access to lots of pyrotechnic equipment, so students could have easily produced bangs, fires, and flames. And they would have done so while wearing white coveralls. Colgate was absolutely certain that this is what happened, and claimed, in his own words, that the craft was, quote, a candle in a balloon, not sophisticated. Zamora, in his initial radio call, reported that what he'd seen looked like a balloon. And here's the most compelling piece of evidence. Lonnie Zamora had previously worked on campus for years, and according to some sources, he wasn't really a popular person with students. So maybe this whole thing was really just a giant prank. But though this is the most logical explanation, it still brings up a lot of questions. How come none of these students ever came forward to claim responsibility, even decades later? How was Zamora fooled so easily? And how did the students manage to pull off the plan so seamlessly? So, although this is the best explanation so far, it's still not perfect. However, what's made very clear is this. Lots of people seem very eager to dismiss what Zamora saw that day, some with hugely unlikely explanations which weren't at all appropriate or reasonable. Why were so many people, including the Air Force, keen on dismissing Zamora's claims.
Chapter 6 Inside the Documents.
Before closing things off, I'd like to take a deeper look into the files by the FBI and Project Blue Book. Sometime in the late 60s, the Air Force decided that UFOs no longer posed a threat to the United States. As a result, Project Blue Book was officially disbanded in 1970, although a ton of their documents were posted online, including the Lonnie Zamora case. And admittedly, I found them after the script for this video was already written. So I'll just go through some of them here, similar to the Finders video. Anyways, let's take a look. First off, the good old FBI. These documents are courtesy of John Greenwald from the Black Vaults, so shout out to him. Anyways, not a whole lot to discuss here. We used a lot of this for the bulk of the information in the video, but I do want to go to this quick little summary right here. A police officer described as sober, dependable, mature, and not known to engage in flights of fantasy reported seeing an unidentified flying object rise from the earth with a roar, emitting a bluish and orange flames, and disappear over a distant mountain. When he reported his observations, representatives of the local law enforcement agency searched the scene and noted 4 small, irregularly shaped, smoldering areas and 4 irregular depressed areas at the site. The unidentified flying object was described as oval-shaped, about 20 feet long, with a red insignia. There is no indication in the reference teletype that Air Force had been advised. Our policy is not to investigate, but assure that Air Force is cognizant. Military is investigating, and Albuquerque office is maintaining liaison. So a lot of information in the FBI documents are stuff that we already went over. But what's interesting is that they included drawings, like diagrams. So I'm just gonna rotate this. And I guess these are general footprints. I'm not sure if that's footprints of the aliens or like
That has
footprints
to
of
be
the ship. I
footprints.
want to go with ship. Burn. Yeah, so these are like
Of
the
the
4
ship.
legs of the
That's the
craft, I'm
footprints of
assuming,
the
and
ship.
some burned dirt burn, and some measurements. More so, it's kind of hard to look at some of them. I can't even read this. So this last part's pretty interesting. Lieutenant Colonel Blank, Curlin Air Force Base, Albuquerque, New Mexico, on April 26th, so about 2 days later, advised that he cannot explain the observations described by Lonnie Zamora at Socorro, New Mexico. Major Connor, Albuquerque, advised that he is the proper officer to handle such reports. Major Connor advised that he, and Sergeant Moody, I believe, had examined the site at Socorro, New Mexico and interviewed Officer Lonnie Zamora. They were impressed by Officer Zamora's sincerity. They noted no radioactivity at the site. They cannot explain Officer Zamora's observations. He did learn that the New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology, so the University New Mexico Tech, at Socorro does some blasting in its work. However, their blasting is not in the area of this incident. Next is the first of 2 of these Blue Book documents. The first one is just a bunch of photos, so we'll just quickly go through them. These right here are rotated. Let me just... There we go. Some of them are really hard to make out, but I think these are some of the indentations and burned bushes, which we can get a better look later. So let's scroll down. Shift it back. I wish I can read what this says, but I'm not sure. But there seems to be 5 circles. So maybe the 4 legs and a burned bush, maybe? Close-up of 5 footprints. It's 5 right here? Yeah, I can't really make out this image at all. And I'm assuming footprint means like the print of the, like one of the legs of the ship. I'm not sure if it actually means like an alien footprint. But yeah. Close up of vehicle imprint. Burned bush. You can see right there. And yeah, here's a real good close up of an incinerated bush. So yeah, close up of vehicle imprint. This is a much better photo. I think the burned bush is right next to it. So yeah, it's just some more photos I'll just briefly go through. I think, yeah, we were here. This is a cool one. I think these are more of the prints. And then a second round of photos. Let me actually zoom in. Just in case anybody wanted to see. I think I only ended up using the burnt bush one. There is Lonnie Zamora and San Chavez. I think that's it. I think some of these are just repeating now. Yeah. Just the area where it all happened. And again, these photos aren't great, but it was the 60s, so. Now, these are the main Blue Book documents. There are a lot, 166 pages. We're not going to go through everything because a lot of it is like newspapers and letters being sent to and from investigators. But there's a few things I want to go over before closing things off. Specific findings from efforts to date. On the evening of the 24th of April, 1964, Sergeant Chavez and the New Mexico State Police, accompanied by Agent Barnes of the FBI and Captain Richard Holder, conducted a search of the area surrounding the sighting. There were no automobile tire marks or markings of any sort in the area other than those located at the site of the alleged landing, and so noted in Captain Holder's report. 2. Radioactivity. Major Connor and Sergeant Moody checked the area for radiation. There was no radioactivity in the area of the sighting. 3. Helicopter activity. A check was made to determine if any helicopter activity was in the area at the approximate time of the sighting. This check was conducted at the White Sands by Captain Holder, who talked with the pilots and operational personnel. All helicopters at the White Sands were in the hangars at the time of the sighting. Sergeant Moody checked all ARS helicopters at Kirtland Air Force Base, and the landing gear did not coincide with the marks on the ground. Helicopter activity was checked within a radius of 300 miles, including Biggs Air Force Base at El Paso, with negative results. All military helicopters, including those associated with Project Cloud Gap, have been eliminated as a possible cause of the sighting. However, civilian helicopter activity was not completely determined. 4. Radar surveillance of the area. Captain Holder contacted radar sites at White Sands and Alamogordo. He was informed that there was no unidentified activity in the area during the time of the sighting. And 5. Soil samples. The soil samples obtained at the sighting were given to Dr. J. Allen Hynek by Captain Holder. They were turned over to Captain Quintanilla, who in turn submitted them to ASD for analysis. Laboratory analysis of the soil was completed on the 19th of May, 1964. It included spectrographic analysis, which revealed that there was no foreign material in the soil samples. Also, no chemicals were detected in the charred or burned soil, which would indicate a type of propellant. There was no significant difference in elemental composition between the different samples. Okay, so this one's interesting. Captain Quintanilla sent a letter to Eric T. the John Shakir, someone from the Deputy for Technology and Subsystems at the Air Force, about the markings. The attached marking has been observed and reported to the United States Air Force in connection with an unidentified flying object sighting at Socorro, New Mexico. The Air Force is investigating the case, and identification of this marking would assist in determining the cause of the sighting. The marks were estimated to be about 1 foot to 18 inches in height, colored red. Any assistance which you may offer will be greatly appreciated. The attached TWX indicates the high level of interest in this sighting. And then they responded. So here's Eric T. the Jonkir. Colonel, United States Air Force, Deputy for Technology and Subsystems. They responded, Dear Sir, in reply to your inquiry of May 27th, 1964, we are unable to furnish any information as to the type of markings you submitted for our examination. United States registration markings for civil aircraft are preceded by the alpha N, followed by 1 to 5 digits, 1 to 4 digits, followed by 1 letter, or 1 to 3 digits followed by 2 letters, displayed in 12-inch characters. We have no knowledge of any particular country using symbols as reference to their registration. So yeah, no one quite knows what the symbol is. Unusual marks found. The man in the street was mystified, and the military and other authorities were investigating today following reports of the landing of an unidentified flying object at the outskirts of Socorro Friday afternoon, and the sighting of 2 strange persons who left odd puck-shaped marks instead of footprints. So maybe there were footprints. Okay. And the last thing for now, I know there's like 66 more pages, but most of them are just like letters being sent to and from investigators. And this part has been kind of long. But for now, it seems like there's actually a bit of lost media involved. Funny enough. So, new documentary film. A new 80-minute documentary film on UFOs entitled Phenomena 7.7 was nearing release date as this issue was closed. The moving picture was prepared for Empire Film Studios, Hollywood, where a company official explained the title. 7.7 means that 7.7% of an estimated 8,000 sightings at the time classified as UFOs by the Air Force. One of the main sequences shows the now widely known Socorro case. Last April 24th, Officer Lonnie Zamora, on highway patrol, sighted an oval-shaped craft near Socorro, New Mexico. When he left his police car for a closer look, the strange machine blasted flame from underneath, rose to a low altitude, then raced out of sight. Landing gear marks and scorched terrain were checked by Air Force Chief UFO Consultant Dr. Hynek and other Air Force investigators. Later, Hynek stated he did not doubt Zamora's report and that he had no explanation. So yeah, apparently there was a documentary on this thing that came out at least a few years later after the event, but I cannot find it. I did a little bit of Googling, and apparently it's lost media. And there's very little discussion about this film online. I would like to see it. If it's out there, if someone knows anything about it, let me know. I didn't think lost media would creep its way onto other types of videos that I do, but here we are, I guess. I am suspicious if this film was confiscated, similar to the photos of the supposed photos of the footprints. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but again, if it's out there, somebody let me know.
Chapter 7, Lonnie's last
We may
words.
never know what happened. Zamora sadly died of a heart attack in 2009. But even before his death, Zamora grew tired of discussing the case with countless people. UFO crazy tourists would travel to Socorro to track him down and ask questions. Day trippers would knock on his door, strangers would stop him in the street, and others would call him in the middle of the night. and as a result, Zamora stopped trying to make a case for what he'd seen that day. He grew tired of the questions, accusations, prank calls, and insults. Even other Socorro locals knew how cynical he'd become, telling reporters that they'd have no chance in their attempts at speaking with Zamora. And for the most part, they were right. But until his death, Zamora always maintained that he'd seen something strange and inexplicable. In one of his last ever interviews, he said the experience was more frightening than anything that could happen. If you're a policeman, which I was back then, and you get in a gun battle, you're scared. But once it's over, it's over. But this, you can't forget. And so we'll never know exactly what happened that day. Was it a hoax conducted by students? Was it a NASA experiment? Or was it the most important UFO sighting of all time? Whatever it was, it has remained a mystery.
That's the end of this video. I guess that's the end of this video. Anyways. Checking something on my phone. Okay. Let me see how long this video is. I know y'all can't see me. Let me move. Or just shrink it. Said I was gonna make this video an hour long. So what I am gonna do is stop recording on my laptop and start recording on my phone. So next thing y'all see will be me recording on my phone. So let me stop the screen recording and I'll...
How do I feel about that video? It's wild. I am a skeptic on aliens and UFOs and all that, including ghosts, demons. I'm a skeptic on all that, which is why I love to watch like Sam and Colby or Oh My Gosh TV or Yasko, how do you say his name? That's why I love to watch them, and I love watching Random Nautica videos. I do believe in Random Nautica. That is something that's just... I just believe in it so much, so... But I'm gonna take a break real quick. I know this first part of this, me filming from on my phone is short, but... So what I did was that I wanted to go ahead and send the video from my laptop to my phone, and so I did that. Wondering how I do that? I use a USB cord, connect it to my laptop, and then plug it into my phone, and then copy the video into like a folder on my phone, and then voila, it's on my phone. But yeah, it's gonna be about another month until I post another video, because I'm trying to stack up on videos. I have 2 posted. This one I'm not counting because I'm just trying to post the video because I just checked what was it before I started filming, and it was the day I'm filming this. It's been 6 days. The day y'all are seeing this, it's 8 days since the last time I posted a video. So I'm letting y'all know this is my farewell. I'll be back once I get enough videos posted to where I can start posting every other day, but as of for right now I can't, because I only have 2 videos, and if I start posting every other day, it's gonna drive me insane like right now. So I'm like I need time to prepare myself and I want to get videos posted, so I have enough videos for like a week where I can just keep posting and then I don't have to worry about, I can take a day or 2 or 3 off and I don't have to worry about, I have to film a video because I'm supposed to, so I have enough videos where I can take a day or 2 or 3 break, because I have enough videos that will tie me over in the end if I take a break and then start filming again. But yeah, taking a break. I am posting covers on my It's Kaylin Music channel. Go subscribe to me on that channel. Go subscribe to my Kaylin's Randomness channel. I am posting 2 days a week on that channel, Thursday and Friday. At whatever time I feel like posting a video is when I post a video on that channel. I don't have a set time, but I do have a set day on when I post on that channel. That's Thursday and Friday. My It's Kaylin Music, I post videos like every single day, and whenever I don't have a cover, I take a day or 2 or 3 or about a week off, and then after a week I start posting again. So I don't really take any breaks on that channel, except for when I need to take a break from the channel. That's when I do. This channel it's scheduled in about a month and a half, hopefully less than a month and a half. This channel schedule will be every other day. So if I post on like Monday, the next video you'll see will be like on Wednesday, and then after Wednesday, the next video you'll see will be on Friday. You get it every other day. And then I have a set time. My time posting on this channel is never going to change. I will always post a video at 2:00 p.m. CST Central Standard Time. I just don't have a set. I just have a set day, a set schedule for this channel every other day at 2:00 p.m. CST Central Standard Time. But just don't know when that's going to start, because I have to get videos posted, or filmed and edited and everything. The editing this is probably going to take, like, to export it to my gallery and everything, it's probably going to take like a good hour and a half or 2, because, or 3 or even 4, because this video is like an hour long. So my editing app is going to go through hell trying to export this and everything. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I will leave the link to the video I reacted to down in the description down below. It will be the very first link in the description. But I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, week, month, because it's going to be a while before I post on this channel. I will try to post YouTube shorts whenever I can, but giving y'all updates and everything. But until next time, peace. I love y'all very, very much, and I'll see y'all in the next video, whenever that is. I love y'all. Bye, guys.